It's 2.5 hours. No, it's not too bad.
You're going to stay for another session after this one, or going to head out?
I haven't decided. I have a 2-year-old and I've been really busy this week, like after work, and it's like one of those things where I'm like, I feel like I should probably go home for bedtime tonight. But I don't know. Are you gonna stay?
There's one I might, it's some of the last, I mean, it's the last session, so there's one I might want to see because it has to do with some of the communities and their sustainability efforts within the communities.
Okay.
They're doing it, so I'm trying to figure that one out. So.
And who are you with again?
I'm Vestula.
Grove City, that's right. And how far is that from you?
It's southwest, it's about 10 miles from here.
Yeah, the last time I was in here, they didn't have presentations, they were just talking, so.
Because of the questions, you don't have to get that.
Mm-hmm. I wonder how many people are here in virtual. Do you know how many virtual participants there are? Oh, nobody's watching it?
She did say
Live stream, I thought she said.
not just recording for later. Because we did get an email saying we weren't live for
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't, yeah, you're right, I don't remember.
Yeah. They might be recording it.
Mm. So are you still on the board?
I'm past president. Yeah, so I've been going back and forth with Mike actually today about presentations and some other stuff. So, but yeah, I can go to the meetings, but it's just been I've been so slammed with everything I'm doing. Not only running the sustainability plan for the city, but I also do keep our city beautiful. We've done street programs, all the environmental education, all the environmental events we have.
See, we've got a separate nonprofit, KTLCB, that does all that
Yeah, now see,
stuff.
Keep Our City Beautiful is an entity of our government, our city government. So they're a charter board appointed by the mayor.
Oh.
Okay, so our money, our funding is through the city government.
KTLCB is similar, except it's the the county is the solid waste management district.
Hi, you're Melissa.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm so sorry I didn't say hello.
And I am so sorry that my presentation is late. I found out that one of our programs I was going to put on, isn't happening. So I was like, I have to,
That's a last minute change.
Yeah, I had to.
No problem, we got it up and running.
Okay, I have it on Zipcar too, so. But it's good? Okay.
Yeah, it's loaded on there. So
Okay.
thank you for making the trip. Everyone was supposed to have it.
Oh, no problem.
You're one of the two that's from out of town, I think. So I really enjoy having you here.
Yeah, I love Columbus. I met someone at lunch from Austin.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And we had lunch with he said Erin, who is on
I just talked to him from Honda. Yep.
but he just moved to
I
California.
know. He just told me he flew back, so he come, but he has work stuff.
But what was interesting about it is that one of his really good friends who retired from Rwanda was on the board for People Citizens and so they ran into each other. Downstairs, I knew they were going to be there. So they said, "Yes, I think lunch was, I thought it was pretty funny."
Okay. Okay, cool. Sounds good.
It'll come down.
It probably will, yeah, while I'm speaking.
I can't talk and read at the same time. Which is like we talked about earlier, you're sitting at a lunch table at 10:30 and then you have people come back on for a while. And you're already there. I thought it was kind of funny. But
I'm not standard, so
that's,
I just don't feel as right.
but it's no different than the flu.
I know, but I think you said coming to North Carolina. That's not issue.
Yeah. I'm, no, I agree, and I'm careful. I'm not.
Yeah, no, no,
I
I'm
don't
just saying
care.
that that's like, there's so many different ways to approach it. There's no matter what.
My son's school closed last week for a week because his teacher tested positive, and he got really sick, but it wasn't COVID. So it's scary. You just don't know. It's very unknown thing, unpredictable.
So I have pretty decent sized files, so you could, that gives you enough time to figure out what kind of outcome.
You don't have to read the whole thing.
Well, I'm gonna summarize. I don't summarize on the fly. Oh, I know, everything seems so important. I know. Okay.
Oh, go ahead, yeah. I guess I've been around long enough now that doesn't matter. You're 2-3 years into your career, you're like, this is where I went to college.
Trust you when you said it got messed up. Oh, yeah, just open it.
So you're going to open up our presentation. Okay, and then we'll start from there. Okay. No worries.
I'll get that.
Do you want to skip it? Okay, 2:15? Okay. All right, mic check. It's all good. Well, welcome everyone. Oh wait, I should do this. Okay, I'm going to do this so it won't be muffled. Well, welcome everyone. It's really good to see all of you, and I know this joke is getting old to see half your faces and all that. We also have a virtual audience, so hi to our virtual audience. My name is Megha Sinha. I'm an urban planner and principal with planning and design firm NBBJ. I'll serve as your moderator for today. I also serve on MORPC's Sustainability Advisory Committee, which is a top-level committee that provides guidance to our region's sustainability-focused programming and our committees. The committee is also responsible for the development of the regional sustainability agenda, which is kind of tied to our session today, providing the framework for members and partners to work towards common goals. MORPC just adopted the updated regional sustainability agenda earlier this year, containing goals, measurable objectives, and strategies that also include a focus on advancing equity and inclusion. The agenda provides the basis for the Sustainable 2050 program, a program designed to support MORPC members in their unique sustainability initiatives while working towards broader regional goals. There are now 35 local governments and regional organizations from Central Ohio participating in the program. Show of hands to all of those that are related, associated with the sustainability agenda or MORPC's. There you go. Well, thank you. Yes. Of course, our chairperson's here. And so in that collaborative spirit of driving our regional sustainability agenda, that's the perfect segue of this breakout session. So you're here today for Sustainability 2050 and beyond, leveraging common goals, collaborations, and creativity for successful and sustainable outcomes. This session will feature examples from Central Ohio and beyond of creative planning, programs, and partnerships to push community sustainability goals, foster collaboration, and result in creative solutions. With that, I'm going to do a quick, brief introduction to each of the speakers today and then get into a deeper bio. We have with us Linda Rosine, Recreation Supervisor, Grove City Parks and Recreation Department. Melissa Hoffer, Sustainability Project Manager, Board of Lucas County Commissioners, and all the way from Toledo, Lucas County Sustainability Commission. And we have virtually with us Erin Beck, Assistant Director, Sustainability Columbus, City of Columbus. So we will loop in Erin when it's time for her. So hopefully the technology will not fail us because it never does. With that, maybe if you want to start coming here. Linda Rosine is the environmental supervisor for Grove City. Linda is key to the city's efforts towards promoting positive and sustainable environmental practices through individual and community involvement, including recycling, composting, and resource utilization. Linda is the appointed chairperson of Grove City Sustainability Committee, which is responsible for the creation and management of Sustainable Grove City Plan. She's a coordinator for Grove City Beautiful and Cities Adopt a Street programs. There's a lot here. Linda is responsible for creating and supporting resident programs and workshops centered on sustainability measures. Well, welcome, and I'm going to get your PowerPoint up. There we go. And if you're doing this right, great.
You got it?
Yep,
Okay.
and I think you can just use these arrows.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you. Can you hear me? Sometimes this microphone's not too. There we go. Well, thank you for having me today. The sustainability plan that I'm going to be speaking to this afternoon is kind of it's been a long journey for all of us in Grove City. One of the things that I liked about this quote is, we can chart our future clearly and wisely only when we know the path which led us to the present. And I believe this kind of sums up everything on how we approached building our sustainability plan for the city of Grove City. Grove City, for those of you who do not know, is southwest of Columbus. We are a city of about 42,000 people, and we've been working on a lot of sustainability issues probably before sustainability, well, actually when sustainability was a buzzword. Nobody really knew what it meant, but we were doing it, and we wanted to do something with it. So we've been working on it for about 30 years with our curbside recycling program. 30 years ago, we became an affiliate of Keep America Beautiful, so we have Keep Grove City Beautiful. And we did a few cleanup projects, you would say, with Keep Grove City Beautiful. But what we really valued, and what we have valued going forward, is our partnerships and the collaborations that we have with our partnerships. And one of the things I liked about this was, with partnerships, you know, you get the resources that you need. There's a commitment from the partners that you have, and the partners also want to have that commitment with you, because they want, most of them are in the community, and they like building those type of different relationships. And then the other nice thing about it is, if you're really lucky, you get some cost sharing involved in some of your projects. So these are just a few of the partnerships that we have in Grove City. There's a lot more up there that we've been working with for the past 20 to 25 years. But as we started on this journey and down this path toward where we came to with the sustainability plan, I wanted to take a look at and show everybody where we were to start this whole journey. So when we started this journey, our population in Grove City was only 19,000 people. So we are up to 42, and possibly with this census, I haven't seen it, we're looking at about 46,000, and we're still growing. So it can be pretty daunting for some of the programs that we have. So Keep Grove City Beautiful was our initial committee when we started all this, and we're trying to come up with different programs for a city that was growing our size, that would be inclusive for our residents, that would help them do recycling and reuse, so everything wasn't going to go into the landfill. So we started our shredding days back in 2005. We have it twice a year now. We've shredded over 376,000 pounds of paper. And this started with the identity theft program clear back 15 years ago, when everybody was scared. We have an e-waste collection. We have had that up until COVID on a yearly basis or semi-yearly basis. But now, in partnership with Jackson Township, it is a year-round program. So people can drop their e-waste off at Jackson Township, and then it's picked up by one of their providers. We started what we call Operation Medicine Drop in 2010. One of our board members thought it was a good idea. This became known as Drug Take-Back Day for most of you who are familiar with it. We keep Operation Medicine Drop because that's what our residents know it as, but we're pretty proud of that. Giant Eagle is a partner of ours. The the Grove City Police Department and Fire Department. So they are very active in this, and we have this once a year in April. We also have a drug drop box at the police department, and now 3 to 4 pharmacies within Grove City have drop boxes in their facilities as well, with Walmart and Myers, some of the other ones. So it's kind of catching on. We also do, one of our partners is huge, it's the Boy Scouts. We do a creek sweep with them every year. We've got 5 watersheds in Grove City. So we partner with the Boy Scouts to do this and keep Grove City beautiful. In fact, we have one tomorrow for Grant Run. And I think I found out it wasn't gonna rain, so thank God, because the boys like to play in the water and it can get really messy. And then we have our Ecofest, which started in 2015, and the reason it started was because we were really starting to look at sustainability as a city, what we could do for our residents, and what we could give back to our residents. So this whole festival is about sustainability issues and what we can do for the community, how the community can be more sustainable in their home, et cetera. And we also showcase things. We have an EV or an electric drive piece of it. We showcase our EV cars that the city has. So it's kind of a collaborative effort that way. The other things that we also do we work with Franklin Soil and Water, which have put almost 10 rain gardens installed into our city. 2 of them are not there anymore, but that's another story. One turned into a bog because we didn't do it right, and there were a lot of frogs living in it. So we got rid of a couple of them, and we've been working with a company called the Rain Brothers. If you're familiar with Columbus, they've been around forever, and we've put over 800 rain barrels into Grove City. So we're very, very, very proud of that. So as we were creating the sustainability plan, it kind of led you through the different things, the different partnerships and everything that we went through. In 2017, we committed to MORPC's sustainability agenda. And then in 2018, we got our gold tier status as a Sustainable 2050 community. In 2019, the City Council passed a resolution to create the sustainability for Grove City. The goal of the Sustainability Committee was to create a sustainability plan for our city, and I've got 2 members from our committee here, Kathy and Rick. Raise your hand, you're here. And I have one member of my Keep Grove City Beautiful committee, Mark's over there. So thank you guys for coming. So we had the sustainability committee, and it also helps when you have something like this. We also had a person on our city council that was passionate about this particular thing. So we got the sustainability committee resolution passed in 2019. It is an 8-member committee that's appointed by the mayor. People turned in their resumes. The mayor chose them, and I believe we have 9 members, because we have a student from UC that is on our committee as well, who has been a wonderful member. She's a sophomore in environmental sciences, so she's worked out very, very well. The other thing we did, and this is where the collaborations really started to work. So the council passed the resolution in February or March of 2019. In May, we had our committee set. And I think it was May or June when Brandy called me, Whetstone, and said, Linda, I've got this friend I want you to meet. Her name is Dr. Kimberly Burton. She's an associate professor at Ohio State University. She runs the sustainability studio with the City and Urban Planning Department for the School of Architecture. And what she does is they have a project that the grad students, 2 second-year grad students do every year, or every semester actually, and they want a project to work on. So what evidently had happened was the semester before that, the students in that particular studio had worked on a sustainability plan for a company in Dayton, Ohio. What Dr. Burton wanted at that point was to work on a sustainability project for a city. And here we are. So we went, yes, absolutely. So we were introduced. And the sustainability students, their sustainability studio with the students worked with our sustainability committee throughout the summer. And then, well, actually it didn't start until August, but got geared up to help us lay out this plan. So the one thing about it being ambitious with the students is it was a semester project. 3 months, done and out, which we were a little skeptical about, only from the standpoint that we didn't know we could create a sustainability plan in 3 months. But the students were absolutely awesome. They set community meetings. We had 2 community meetings. They created a survey that went out into the community about what the community would like to see about sustainability, what was important to them. And we got over 500 surveys back, which I guess is just unheard of, which we were thrilled about. They talked to, and this was all in conjunction with our committee, but they talked to department heads, they talked to people within our city about their sustainability agendas and what they would like to see. And then what they did was they put this all together, as well as best practices. And the best practices that they did were pretty much best practices which were in the Midwest. That a few on the East and West Coast, but the West Coast is a little bit different in their sustainability issues than we are in the Midwest, so they wanted to try to keep them more consistent with how we work in Ohio. So it came together. So the plan really provides a framework for building on the city's past and current efforts. What the students did was they presented this to City Council in November of 19 as the framework for what was going to happen going forward. And it was extremely well received. So what they did was after they had the presentation, they took it in hand and they handed it to the committee and went, here you go. And we're like just looking at them going, okay. So we took the framework from the committee, or from the students, took a look at everything that we did and sat down and really devised or basically built this plan that you see here. It provides policy guidance, measurable actions, and sustainability opportunities in 8 focus areas. And those focus areas are the built environment, natural environment, energy, transportation, waste reduction, recycling, business practices, city operations, and community engagement. Some of this agenda is similar to MORPC's, but it had to do with everything that we were doing in the city. Each focus area has an objective outcome, and then there's action items within each of these focus areas, and there can be anywhere from 5 action items to 12 action items, depending on what the focus area is. It tells what the measurables are supposed to be, who's responsible for it, and the general time frame, from a short time frame to a long time frame, and what we think is going to happen. So we prepared all this, we put it together, and we created what we call, what is now our sustainability plan. And in the meantime, there was still a work in progress, because this plan is it's not stationary, static, it's a living plan. So we were working on different things. For instance, under natural environment, we were already working on a community gardens program. So with the help of an Eagle Scout and his troop who built everything here, and again, it comes back to collaboration and partnership. We have the 54 plots, and it's very successfully received. In partnership with SWACO, we received a grant. We're working on our first food waste recycling station. We have one right now. It's a pilot program, and we are, since April 4th, over 13,000 pounds. So for our community, that's really, really good. So we're looking at going forward in that. So those were just some of the things that we were working on, and how I can tell you that the plan isn't stagnant. It keeps evolving. So the plan was adopted by resolution on August 2nd of this year. It is that new. We were absolutely thrilled. The committee was thrilled that the city council had adopted it, and of course they wanted to know what we were going to do and how fast we were going to do everything. So right now, our next step plans are that we are going to try to meet quarterly to review the status of each of the action items, because it's an ongoing thing. We'll reevaluate some of those items, see where they are in their time frame, if some of them are completed, if we want to add more things to them, and then we will give an annual report to City Council so they can kind of look at our accomplishments, and if there is some funding that needs to happen based on the sustainability plan, we can possibly get some funding for them. And that is our sustainability plan for the city of Grove City. So. Thank you. You want me to stay up here or just go back? Okay.
We didn't plan this. All right, thank you. That was excellent. We will now introduce our second speaker. So I welcome at the podium Melissa Greenhofer. Melissa serves as the Sustainability Project Manager for the Lucas County Commissioner's Office and is also the Director of the Toledo-Lucas County Sustainability Commission. The commission hosts events on sustainability topics, provides resources to the community about sustainable living, and coordinates implementation efforts for the Greater Toledo Going Beyond Green sustainability plan. A lot of Melissa's time is spent on sustainable neighborhoods, programs related to sustainability, efforts to improve the health of Lake Erie. She led the development of the Western Lake Erie Nutrient Source Inventory and serves as the Vice Chair of the Toledo Metropolitan Area Council of Governments Water Quality Council. What do you not do? So I'm going to pull up your presentation. Let's make All right, Melissa, all yours.
Thank you, Micah. And oh, I almost knocked that over. Thanks, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I don't know if anyone else from Northwest Ohio is here today, but I love Columbus. Oh, originally Bowling Green alum. That's right. Okay. So it's great to be here. I love Columbus. A lot of us haven't been traveling, so. One quick thing I did want to mention is I've been here today and I've already twice seen reference to the Site Selection Magazine's sustainability rankings. And when we saw that come out in Northwest Ohio, in Toledo, we were like, oh my gosh, like us? Like, cool. Like we don't always consider ourselves to be on the map for that kind of stuff. So in terms of sustainability in Northwest Ohio, I really do want to give a shout out to the businesses in Northwest Ohio, the Owens Corning, the First Solar, those folks. Those businesses are really, really engaged in sustainability in Northwest Ohio, and it really contributes to some of our success there. So I wanted to mention the site selection thing because I think a lot of people are maybe a little curious about it. So I'm going to talk today a little bit about the Toledo-Lucas County Sustainability Plan and the Toledo-Lucas County Sustainability Commission. The Sustainability Commission is really the driving organization for sustainability in Northwest Ohio. It's been around since about 2008. It's gone through many different iterations. It's gone through a lot of growth. When I got involved with the Sustainability Commission in 2008, there were 4 people at a meeting, and now we get about 25 people, 25 organizations. So it definitely contributes to our success. It's a strong partnership between the City of Toledo and Lucas County, and then various nonprofits, businesses, and other government entities in the region. So again, just want to shout out to the businesses that play a significant role in moving sustainability forward in Toledo and Lucas County. And just to give you kind of an idea of sort of the size of Toledo is about 240,000 people. And Lucas County is about 400,000 people. So that's kind of the size of community that we're talking about. So today I'm just going to talk a little bit about our sustainability plan that's been in place since 2015. And then since we want to talk a little bit about innovation and collaboration, I'm just going to touch on 3 projects of all different scales that really, I think, showcase some innovation and collaboration that's taken place in Toledo and Lucas County, and also different scopes. So our sustainability plan is very community focused. I think a lot of plans are more municipal operations. This is definitely more of a community-wide sustainability initiative. And we do a lot of grassroots projects with neighborhoods and with the local community, but then we also do a lot of larger sort of policy sort of focused projects as well. Being a county, I think our scope, it changes the scope significantly. You're working with multiple municipalities and typically a larger geographical area with very diverse needs and issues. So sometimes it can be challenging to try and work on all of that at once. And I just wanted to real quickly, we have an Ecofest as well, but we had our first one in 2019. Unfortunately, we haven't had one since, but looking forward to having one in 2022. And in terms of partnerships, I always like to mention this because our Ecofest, the first one we had in 2019, was really, really successful. We had over 1,000 people. We offered free sustainable living workshops to people. We had live music. We tried to make it fun so people could come and learn about this stuff. And we partnered with a local tattoo studio to put on Ecofest, and it was great. So an unlikely partnership that ended up working out really well. So always, never be afraid to kind of... Yeah, tattoo studios. Who would have thought? There are also a few in our sustainable business program. So, yeah, I just wanted to mention that unlikely but successful partnership. So the Toledo-Lucas County Sustainability Plan has been in place since 2015. I think much like most sustainability plans we hear about, we did a lot of public engagement. We did focus groups with over 100 people, phone interviews, surveys out to the community, really tried to get as much feedback as we possibly could to kind of narrow down some of the things that we want to work on in Lucas County. We have taken the triple bottom line and really kind of used that as our sort of overarching framework. And then here is kind of what we narrowed some of our priorities down to. Water quality and supply, Lake Erie, and the quality of Lake Erie is a significant issue in Northwest Ohio. Land and natural resource use. We looked at healthy, active, and safe communities, which we've heard a lot about today. Education, engagement, and empowerment, getting folks involved in some of this work. Looking at neighborhoods, neighborhood vitality, infrastructure, investments, and then economy and workforce development. And then something else that we kind of like to make known is that we have these focus areas and these priority actions, which you cannot see that. It's really small. We've got this very broad list of things that we're working on, but we're not working on all of it at the same time. And some of it is just kind of keeping track of what's going on in the community so we can get this sort of holistic idea of how sustainable is our community. And then something else I did want to mention that kind of speaks to partnerships is a lot of municipal sustainability plans are done internally within cities and funded internally by cities. The neat thing about our plan is that it was funded by Lucas County, the City of Toledo, Owens Corning, Lathrop Construction Company, our Regional Transit Authority, and our local community foundation. So, and as well as the YMCA in Toledo. So, kind of maybe an unlikely group to kind of come together and fund an initiative like this, but we thought it was a really powerful testament to, how much of a priority this was to the entire community. And that also formed our steering committee for the plan development, again, which was broad and diverse, and we were happy about that. So just kind of wanted to mention that the funding was definitely done in kind of an untraditional way, but we were excited about it. And then, so with our sustainability plan, for all the priority actions, we basically ranked each one for the impact it has on climate change, social equity, and economic health. So depending on what the biggest issues are or what folks want to work on at that particular time, we can kind of look at, we really need to tackle this particular issue related to climate change. What types of things should we be working on right now to do that? So we ranked all of those priority actions to assess their impact on the different issues in the community. So the first program I want to touch on in our sustainability plan is our Sustainable Neighborhoods program. In 2016, we created our Sustainable Neighborhood Toolkit, which is a resource for neighborhoods to do sustainability projects kind of at that local level. So it was funded by Partners for Places grant. We partnered with our local Toledo Community Foundation. So we developed the toolkit, and then we figured out, okay, well, how can we activate this toolkit and make it work in the community? And then interestingly enough, we hold a sustainability gala every year, and in 2016 we raised more money than we needed for the event, so we decided to put that in a Sustainable Neighborhoods Grant Fund. And we started giving out neighborhood grants to groups that wanted to do sustainability projects in their neighborhoods. So this is a great way to get neighborhood groups to utilize the toolkit, start thinking about different ways to implement sustainability in their local communities, and also give those resources to to folks to actually do some of those projects and make improvements to their neighborhood. So this was our first round of awardees. Mostly a beautification going on in some of our underserved neighborhoods. That's kind of what we primarily ended up funding. And one really interesting project we funded was with our First Unitarian Church of Toledo. They actually had a large lot of a couple of acres, and they tested 6 low-maintenance landscaping grass seed options. They planted all of them, analyzed them, and then at the end of the growing season, they had the local neighborhood come in and vote on their favorite one, and then they implemented that seed mix for the entire property, and with the buy-in from the neighborhood and everything. So we thought that was pretty cool. And then we also had an analysis of low-maintenance seeds we can use, and organizations like the Lucas County Land Bank dealing with maintenance of vacant lots and things were able to utilize some of that information. So we ended up working with a lot of different neighborhoods through this grant program, and one of our particular neighborhoods that I think we're really excited about is it's a neighborhood known as Vestula, and it was really one of those neighborhoods where there was really a snowball effect that kind of took place. We partnered with the University of Toledo, and they're known as Vestula, and they're an LMHA property company. They own a couple of properties in this neighborhood, low-income housing properties. We ended up doing some green infrastructure on these low-income properties. We also ended up doing a stormwater plan for this particular neighborhood, did a lot of community engagement. And it's really kind of snowballed at this point to where we've got the green infrastructure at some of the properties. We helped them develop a pocket park that's now a highly active site in the neighborhood. There's trees, there's a pollinator garden, there's different amenities for neighborhoods to come together, or rather neighbors to come together. And it's really activated a space that really needed some enhancement. And so after we did that plan, over the last couple of years, we've just seen so much going on in this neighborhood that we didn't see before. So, and that's kind of the goal of some of the stuff that we're doing at sort of the neighborhood level is, just kind of reinvigorating some of these neighborhoods and try to get some stuff going on that the neighborhood and the residents are proud of. So that's been a really great partnership. And we just this week announced our next round of grant winners. We are now funding neighborhood sustainability projects and also community gardens and urban farming initiatives. So we're excited to be able to continue to hand those grants out. Another project I just want to touch on, the Western Lake Erie Nutrient Source Inventory. This is definitely more of a larger, broader project. As many of you may know, Western Lake Erie struggles with harmful algal blooms. Every summer, we get this green algae that grows on our lake, and it has devastating economic impacts. And actually, in 2015, you probably know that our drinking water was compromised for 3 days. So there was 500,000 people who did not have drinking water. Very significant issue on multiple fronts, and definitely an equity issue as well. So we decided we needed to spring into action. We needed to do a source water protection plan to protect our drinking water. Getting everyone together who kind of works on these water issues, we decided that was not going to resolve our issue. It's an Ohio EPA program. It's great. It just wasn't going to solve our problem. So we developed the nutrient source inventory. So basically, you've got the phosphorus and the phosphorus and the nutrients that, when it rains, run off into the lake, cause the algae to grow. A lot of that's agricultural runoff. Some of it's wastewater as well from the more urban areas. So what we did is we identified all of the nutrient sources in the Western Lake Erie Basin, up into Michigan, over into Indiana, down to Great Lakes, St. Mary's. We identified where those nutrient sources were. And then we also did some modeling to figure out more specifically where the problem areas were. So we had a very broad group of people help develop the nutrient source inventory. And the way that we've sort of utilized it is we've been going to different communities in the Western Basin to basically say, here are our most significant issues. Here are the stakeholders in these areas that can do something about it. And here are the funding resources or technical assistance resources that are available to address some of the algae runoff that's coming from your particular area. So it's it's beyond Lucas County, but we feel the effects of the harmful algal bloom so significantly in our region. We felt the need to kind of branch out and kind of expand our scope a little bit in terms of water quality in Lake Erie. And then another project, kind of I guess we're really switching gears in between each of these projects because they're all pretty different. But so finally, we have our Sustainable Business Network. So we've currently got actually 41 participating businesses, 23 sustainability audits performed for businesses. So our Sustainable Business Network is a free program that businesses can join, and then they get recognized in our Sustainable Business directory on our website, in our Lucas County Green Map. That was mentioned in the Site Selection Magazine article if you have not read that article. And the cool thing about that is our local solid waste management district offers free sustainability assessments to businesses using the University of Toledo's engineering graduate program. So the students actually go in and do these free sustainability assessments for businesses, so they get experience, and the solid waste management district in Lucas County funds those. So that was kind of a cool sort of partnership that came together. We developed the Sustainable Business Network. We partnered with the Business Waste Reduction Assistance Program with the Solid Waste District, who partnered with the University of Toledo Engineering Program. So we've got kind of, three partners coming together, kind of to achieve one goal, making sustainability more attainable for businesses in Lucas County. And the other thing that we started doing through the Sustainable Business Network was our Going Beyond Green Lunch series. It's a quarterly luncheon where we talk about issues specific to businesses in Lucas County and whatever those topics are that they are excited to hear about and learn about in regards to sustainability. So they can learn about different ways to make their practices more environmentally friendly. And we've partnered with the U.S. Green Buildings Council, AEP Engineering, and the American Institute of Architects to put those on every year. They were in person. They've been virtual for 2 years, but they've still been, we've been really excited to kind of see some success with that. So I'm just going to wrap up talking about how we're tracking our progress. So we were pretty excited when our sustainability plan was done. We actually developed a sustainability index using the indicators that are listed up there. And then we have a fancy spreadsheet where we put in our data, and then it calculates our sustainability index. And some of the metrics that we're using, greenhouse gas emissions per capita, phosphorus loading, high school graduation rates to kind of look at more of that social sustainability, unemployment rate. So looking at a number of different things to kind of get an overall picture of how sustainable is Toledo and Lucas County. The most recent calculation we've done was for 2016, unfortunately, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But we saw improvements in pretty much all of our indicators, so we were really excited about that. Things like crime rates and median household income, things that we're not doing as well in. But again, kind of look to other organizations to do that work, and then we try to kind of help them in any way that we can. But again, with the plan being so broad, we can't work on everything. And I don't know if I mentioned the Sustainability Commission is a volunteer organization, so everyone's time is limited. So some of the successes we've seen, and I'll talk a little bit about kind of how we're going to move forward. So our greenhouse gas emissions per capita have decreased. We've seen more land conservation taking place. Some of the successes I have listed there, our health rank, our crime rate, and our median household income are things that we continue to struggle with. And some of the things that we've learned through the implementation and the tracking of this data, the data is not tracked annually, which has been a huge challenge that we've tried to deal with. Also finding out that some indicators really aren't the best indicator to use to tell the story of certain issues that we're working on. And obviously we have a lot more work to do in a number of different arenas. So in 2022, we will be updating our sustainability plan, because it's been about 5 years now. And one of the things that we look forward to doing is revamping our sustainability index with more reliable data, and we're excited to kind of see where the numbers are. But yeah, so it's definitely been a learning process. And but that's all I have.
Thank you, Melissa. I'm going to bring up our virtual speaker here so she can start sharing. Okay, Erin, I don't think you can see the audience, but the audience is seeing you nice and big. So just a heads up. If you want to start sharing your screen while I introduce you.
Sure.
Thank you. So meet Erin Beck. Erin Beck is the Assistant Director for Sustainable Columbus in the Department of Public Utilities, working interdepartmentally and with community stakeholders to impart equity and environmental and racial justice through sustainability. She leads critical efforts such as the city's 100% clean energy aggregation program, Clean Energy Columbus, and the city's climate action plan process, which will provide a roadmap to reach carbon neutrality community-wide by 2050. Erin has previously done policy work at both Columbus City Council and with Mayor Ginther in his office in areas such as sustainability, public health, workforce development, equity, diversity, and inclusion. With that, Erin, I think you're all set.
Thank you so much for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much to MORPC for hosting this event today and for having me. Again, my name is Erin Beck. I'm Assistant Director with Sustainable Columbus. And today I really hope to impart with you more information and understanding on the city's Clean Energy Columbus program, which started this past June and was voted on and approved by residents last November. And then I hope to also share with you and just kind of show how a clear vision and goal can really help drive partnership and alignment and help you be successful in meeting your goals. And so I wanted to start with some of the basics. This graphic is one we used quite a bit when we started on our aggregation journey. It really does a great job of showing how energy works and helps, I think, clarify just what aggregation is, which I do want to start with a little bit of that just so folks have that background knowledge. Aggregation is really the process through which a city or locality contracts for energy on behalf of their residents and small businesses. It's actually a very common practice in Ohio. There's over 400 communities that have aggregation programs, but it is not so common to have a clean energy aggregation program. You can kind of see here all of the benefits and reasons why the city chose to pursue a 100% clean energy aggregation program. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more toward the end of my slides as well. Just what we see are all of the benefits of a 100% clean energy aggregation program. And so our journey with aggregation really started when Mayor Ginther committed us at State of the City in 2020 to pursue a 100% clean energy aggregation program by 2022. And so we went through a pretty extensive process in order to get where we are now and have the program up and running. But I think it's important to note we pursued what's called an opt-out program, which means that residents have to choose. They have to take action in order to say they do not want to participate in the program. And because of that, we had to go to ballot and put this on the ballot, which we were successful and got 76% of residents approved moving forward with the program. So it really showed a lot of enthusiasm from the community around clean energy, around climate, and really just around sustainability in general. So we were really excited that passed with so much enthusiasm from the community. I'm not going to talk too much about the whole process that we went through. There were a lot of steps that we took just to get to the ballot and then to get to implementing our program. But this is actually a snapshot of our cleanenergycolumbus.org website. Just want folks to know we do have a process page there where you can actually look at every step we took, and there's kind of links to all of our public hearings, all the legislation, and kind of every step that we took to get to implementing our program. And so who is Clean Energy Columbus? Of course, it's the city and our Sustainable Columbus team, but we also have Traybell Energy. They are our aggregation consultant and broker and really help us manage our aggregation program. They've been with us every step of the way, getting the program up and running and implemented. And of course, very critically, we have AEP Energy, who is our supplier for the program, getting us that 100% clean energy. And so at the end of the day, the Clean Energy Columbus is the City of Columbus program. The three of us are all one team, but I always like to make it clear that there are three entities that folks might be hearing of that are involved in the program. And so this slide really starts to get us into the overview of what the program looks like. Our Clean Energy Columbus program is a long-term agreement with AEP Energy, and that's what you're seeing there in the arrow graphic. It's really showing our path to how we're going to reach 100% Ohio-based wind and solar through our program. And that was something that was really important to us. We wanted to do 100% clean energy, but we also wanted it to be as locally based as possible, so we could get as many of the benefits as possible from the program. And you'll see we're starting with 2 bridge periods. You know, a lot of these assets are still in the pre-development and kind of pre-construction phase. So we're starting with 2 bridge periods. The first year is renewable energy credit backed. So we're looking at Midwest RECs for the first year. And then in that second phase, we'll have RECs, but start to blend in the wind and solar assets as they get constructed and come online and onto the grid. And then by 2024, 2025, we're looking at all Ohio wind and solar. And then I just wanted to spotlight a project that we're particularly excited about. Recently had a press conference hosted graciously by SWACO to announce that the Columbus Solar Park is going to be part of our aggregation program. And I think this also just demonstrates just how much partnership is involved in being successful in a program like this. So this was a project that SWACO and BQ Energy were working on developing right here in Franklin County, really putting a brownfield property back into productive use. And so we knew that this was a project we were really interested in including in the aggregation. And so, AEP Energy, BQ Energy, and our division of power worked very closely and creatively to figure out a way and a path to make that happen. So we're really excited that this project is actually going to interconnect through the city's division of power, and then it's going to benefit our aggregation for the first 5 years, and then we'll split those benefits between our aggregation program and the city's division of power, which that is important because with our aggregation program, unfortunately, due to state regulations, our division of power customers and residents are not eligible to participate. So this way, we're bringing those benefits to even more residents in our community. And I will add to this project is going to support over 200 jobs right here in Franklin County. And so starting to look at the benefits, what are all of the reasons why we really wanted to pursue this program? Clean air and health, that is a huge one. When we talk about the environmental benefits here, we're really talking about and thinking about public health and how this is helping make our community healthier. So I'm not going to read all these stats to you. You can hopefully see up there the significant impact that switching from dirty fossil fuels over to clean renewable energy that's based right here in Ohio is going to have. I will say these are Ohio metrics, but that's still, I think, something that's really exciting about the program. And these benefits are for everyone, regardless of whether or not folks are participating in the program. And just kind of building on that, this really is helping us reach a lot of our climate goals. So also last year at State of the City, Mayor Ginther committed us to being carbon neutral community-wide by 2050. So we know this is going to help us reduce emissions significantly. And if we can get as many folks as possible participating in this program, we're going to be able to lower community-wide emissions by 7% towards that overall goal. And certainly workforce development. This is another huge reason that drove us to pursue this program and why we're excited about the program. Like I mentioned, a lot of these projects are still in development and pre-construction, but through the program, we're going to be supporting nearly 4,500 jobs through the construction and maintenance of those facilities. And so knowing this, if you kind of look on the right-hand side, that's what that graphic is trying to show. We wanted to ensure that these are good-paying jobs with benefits. That was very important to us. So as part of our supply agreement, AEP Energy is facilitating a meeting between the developers of these projects and the IBEW, and they will also facilitate at least one bid that utilizes IBEW labor. We also have implemented a Clean Energy Workforce Development Committee that's co-chaired by the city and by AEP Energy, and does have dedicated annual funding. I also wanted to highlight a partnership that AEP Energy had with Columbus Urban League. Again, as part of our supply agreement, we had asked them to work with community-based organizations to do some staffing for their call center. So when we went through that big opt-out process, they had to really hire on a lot of folks for their call center that's right here in Columbus. So they worked with the Columbus Urban League to bring on 43 seasonal employees, and I think it's really great that because of exemplary performance, 16 of those folks were actually offered full-time permanent positions. And all of those jobs were good paying jobs, over $15 an hour, and the permanent positions do have full benefits as well. Another benefit of the program is that built into our rate is a community grant. And so we actually have funding that's coming back to the city that we are able to reinvest into our community around sustainability and around into our neighborhoods that are being impacted the most by climate change. So what you're looking at here on the slide is just we work with our aggregation advisory group that we had established, as well as some of our supporters in the American Cities Climate Challenge, to think through how that community grant funding might be able to be reinvested in the community. So I'm not going to get too into the weeds of what we're thinking about planning to use that funding for, but I think it's just important to note that that's another opportunity and benefit that we're seeing from the program. And then last but certainly not least, this is a big one. At the end of the day, Clean Energy Columbus and the aggregation program is voluntary. Residents can opt out at any time. There are never any fees or penalties for that, and they can also rejoin the program if they change their mind at a later date. So this is something that's really, important to residents, and I think is another great aspect of the program, that it really is to residents whether or not they want to participate. And that was kind of all I had in terms of presentation, but just wanted to close that all of those benefits are the reason we chose to pursue a 100% clean energy aggregation program. And we're looking to have it be clean energy that was as locally sourced as possible. And I do think having that clear commitment to having, 100% clean energy program by 2022, I think that was really helpful in us being successful and getting the program up and running and partnering with state organizations in the community to make it happen.
Well, thank you, Erin, and thank you to all our speakers. Before we get into questions, there is a sign-in sheet here. If you are looking for credits, continuing education credits, just come in and sign your name and email address, and they'll send you the details. With that, I had some questions, but I think because we're running short of time, we launch into audience questions. All right, there is a question.
Ms. Hopper, question for you about your budget and where the money comes from to run your program.
All right, so I have to repeat the question for the audience here, or the virtual audience. The question is for Melissa, and it is where's the funding and the budget for all the projects that you mentioned?
So the sustainability program in Lucas County is funded 50% through our solid waste management district and 50% our Lucas County stormwater utility.
Right. Any other questions? All right. So while the audience is thinking, maybe I'm going to, so next year when you come back here, what do you want to brag about? And maybe we can start with Linda, you, and then Melissa, and then Erin.
I think I would just, can you even hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Just to hope that we have some of the action items within our sustainability plan that are up and running, and that we have completed some and have found new ones to accomplish.
Great.
Yeah, for us, again, our sustainability plan really needs updating. So I'd love to come back and say we've got our index figured out and we've got some really great data that really speaks to the sustainability. So that's definitely something we're looking at doing. Also, looking to develop a climate action plan specific to county operations. That's not something we've tackled yet, but we're going to be doing that next year. It would be great to say that we're working collaboratively with the state of Ohio to take some meaningful action on harmful algal blooms in Lake Erie, which again, that's a really broad scope, but we work on that pretty consistently, so that as well.
Well, you're going to be busy.
Yeah.
All right, Erin's question for you too. What do you want to brag about next year?
Yeah, I love that question. I think it would be great to come back and share updates on how we've reinvested that community grant back into the community and just demonstrate how it has positively benefited residents in our opportunity neighborhoods. We're very focused on equity and environmental justice with our entire Sustainable Columbus effort. So really showing how it's had an impact for our Black community, our Latino community, and low-income residents, and that it's really made their lives better.
Great, thank you. Anybody thought of any questions? All right, ma'am.
Which frameworks have you looked at to develop your sustainability plans? Like ICLEI or EUN's Sustainable Development Goals, or maybe even MORPC's? Like, how did you go about that?
Okay, so the question is, which peer or other organizational frameworks have you used to emulate your work? Anyone want to jump in?
We didn't. I mean, we looked at ICLEI, some of ICLEI's sustainable development principles, but we really wanted our priorities to be, so the triple bottom line, right, the people, profit, planet, like that was like our first and foremost, I guess, the foundation of our framework, but it was really more of a process of talking to community members to figure out what priorities were important locally. So other than just the triple bottom line, we didn't really utilize any other framework.
And we did not either. I mean, we created our own framework. It was obviously, we used in part the agenda that was set up by MORPC. And then what our sustainability committee felt was based on what the community said they wanted, what our, a lot of the department heads said that they wanted from a collaborative effort. So that's how we developed our framework.
And Erin, same question for you. Maybe, is there a program that you looked at when you guys were launching your program or studying it?
Sure. So we definitely did look at what other cities were doing around aggregation. I will say our program is now the third largest in the country, so we were kind of looking a lot at what California was doing. There are also only so many states that actually are deregulated and have the ability to aggregate. So those were other communities that we were looking at. San Jose, I know, was one that we looked at quite a bit and kind of what they were doing with their aggregation program. I will say we are currently working on our climate action plan and finalizing that. I mentioned we're committed to being carbon neutral by 2050. So we will have our final climate action plan coming out before Thanksgiving this year. So, and I do know we used ICLEI and their modeling tool, at least, to kind of do our modeling.
Great, thank you. And does the audience understand ICLEI?
ICLEI.
Okay, so can one of you maybe tell the audience what that is? Do you know? Difficult question? Okay.
International, gosh, I've heard about there once. It's a framework specifically targeted at cities for sustainability.
Got it. So I don't know if you guys heard it, but it's a city, it's a framework targeted at cities. Got it. There's a question?
I have a question for Linda University. So the direction and policy that was approved as sustainment, is that being championed by essentially the city administration? And are those materials or those focus areas, is it being used as a kind of judgment criteria for either the Planning and Zoning Commission or by just city building inspectors and city plan new development or new things that you need approved, I guess, or are those criteria,
Okay.
judgment criteria? Do you use that as a kind of, does your project contain the kind of, sustainability goal-oriented things that you want? Is it being used that way?
If I understand the question, so the city has what they call, it's called Grove City 2050, which is their plan, and it's a development plan, which basically targets the built environment and transportation on natural environment. As far as the built environment, they're looking at revising a lot of the zoning codes, which have not been revised since the early 80s. They're in the process of finishing that up. So what we did was, when we looked at the built environment and we looked at several of the other focus areas, we made sure that they were compatible. So we were saying the same thing that Grove City 2050 did, because we didn't want to go down different paths. So if you look at the focus area of the built environment, it's very much the same as what Grove City's 2050 plan is. Is that what you're talking about, Mark? Okay, yeah.
Great. We have 1 minute if there's a quick question. If not, well, a round of applause to all our wonderful speakers. Well, thank you all, and see you again here next year with all the bragging rights. Yep. Okay. Bye, Erin.
Feels like it's a lot to cram into
I know.
15 minutes. I think I went a little bit.
You know, when you're talking about the making, I'm thinking that could be a whole session just on watercolor.
Oh, I do hour-long presentations on just that.
I can imagine.
Yeah, so it's hard to like.
All right.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's so good to see you here.
So much. I teach at Ohio
Great.
State.
I'm glad you said something. It's hard to recognize people partially.
I try. I have an example of my own like 5 or 6 years ago in Jefferson County. They did anyway. It's very similar to what you.
No, I'm just walking through the next. You did a great job.
committee that